Imagine this for a second. You're walking to your own wedding. You are dressed in your absolute best. The ceremony is all set. Your family is waiting. Your whole future is right there.
Okay.
You turn a corner, you look up, and you see a complete stranger on a balcony. You walk into that stranger's house, and you don't come out for a year.
Sounds like a fever dream, doesn't it?
Right. Or a horror movie setup.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that is the actual premise of the document we're looking at today. We're doing a deep dive into a story from Basra, the everlasting devotion of Aziz and Aziza. And honestly, I'm not sure devotion is the right word.
No.
Maybe the catastrophic distraction of Aziz?
It's certainly a polarizing story. We're looking at a specific episode. It's titled A Love That Outlasted Death. And on the surface, it reads like a romance.
That's how it's framed.
That's how it's framed.
Yeah.
But it's really a case study in human folly. It's about the collision between two very different kinds of love. That impulsive, fiery attraction, and then this silent, patient endurance that just consumes you.
And we are going to get into the psychology of this because I read through the source, and I have to be honest, I really struggled with the protagonist, Aziz.
Oh, yeah?
I found it very hard to find any sympathy for him. But before we, judge him too harshly, let's set the scene. Who are these people before everything just goes completely off the rails?
So, on paper, everything's perfect. We're in the ancient city of Basra. We have Aziz. He's described as like the total package for his time. Young, incredibly handsome, and he's the son of a wealthy merchant.
So he's got status, money, looks.
Everything. And he's engaged to his cousin, Aziza.
Right. And we should probably note, in this context, cousin marriage was, pretty normal. It kept wealth in the family.
Exactly. Social stability. But the source material makes a really specific point here. It says Aziza didn't just accept this as her duty. She loved him with all her heart.
See, that's the anchor, isn't it? If she was just sort of, he's okay, then the rest of the story is just about a guy being a jerk. But because she's described as being totally devoted, the stakes are just sky high.
Precisely. She is the emotional collateral in all of this. So we get to the wedding day. Aziz is in his finest robes. He steps out of his father's house. He's literally on his way to the ceremony.
And this is where we hit what you called the deviation.
The deviation, yes.
Yeah.
The balcony.
The balcony.
And in literature from this period, even Western lists like Romeo and Juliet, the balcony is always this kind of dangerous threshold. It's not quite inside, not quite outside. It's a stage.
And on this stage is a young woman. The text calls her breathtakingly beautiful. She smiles, she beckons to him, and Aziz, he just walks in.
He just goes.
I mean, come on. Is this magic? Is he under some kind of spell, or is he just that easily distracted?
Well, that's the big debate, isn't it?
Yeah.
The text doesn't explicitly say magic spell. It describes an enchantment of the senses.
Okay.
It implies that Aziz is so overwhelmed by this immediate beauty that his sense of duty, his whole world just evaporates. It's like extreme hubris. He thinks he can just take a quick detour.
And the detour turns into a kidnapping, sort of. He walks in, and this woman, who turns out to be the daughter of a powerful man, so she's not a nobody,
Right.
she drops this ultimatum on him. She says, "Stay with me for 1 year. If you leave before then, you will lose me forever."
It's a very specific contract. 1 year of exclusivity.
But just think about that trade-off. This is like the ultimate marshmallow test, but the stakes are life-ruining. He is trading a lifetime of stability, his family, his reputation, his literal wedding for, what, a year of hanging out.
For fantasy.
Yeah.
That's the key. The woman on the balcony, she represents a world without consequences. No responsibilities, no family, no business, just pleasure. And Aziz, in that moment, decides the fantasy is worth more than reality.
So he agrees. He ghosts his entire life. And this kicks off what I was calling the lost year. And reading the source material the way this year is described, it's infuriating.
It's a study in asymmetry. It really is.
Okay, let's do a split screen here, because I think that's the only way to really feel the weight of this. So left side of the screen, we've got Aziz. What's his year like?
It's a blur of hedonism. The text says he was surrounded by luxury, love, and delight. He's eating fine food, there's music, romance. But notice what's missing from his side of the screen.
Guilt, anxiety.
Exactly. There is zero mention of him worrying about his parents or wondering if Aziz is okay. He is in this state of, suspended animation. He's effectively stopped being a son or a fiancé. He's just a consumer of pleasure.
Okay, now, right side of the screen, Aziza. What is her year like?
It's a slow-motion car crash.
Yeah.
She is waiting at the door every single day.
And the text talks about the physical toll, right? She gets thin, she gets pale. But she doesn't, like, send out a search party. She doesn't call the guards.
No. And this is where you get that cultural archetype of the silent sufferer. In these stories, the death of your love is often measured by how much pain you can endure without complaining.
Wow.
Aziza never complains. She weeps quietly. She prays for his safety. She just assumes some horrible tragedy has happened to him, not that he just left her.
But she's not the only one suffering. And this is the part that just makes me want to reach into the text and shake Aziz. His parents.
Yes, the source is absolutely brutal here. It says his parents died of sorrow.
Now, is that poetic license, or do they mean that literally?
It's likely both. I mean, in the medical understanding of the time, sorrow or melancholy was a fatal condition. But socially, it's even more powerful. Aziz didn't just leave, he vanished. The shame of a groom disappearing on his wedding day, losing your heir, it would destroy a family's standing, their spirit. They essentially grieve themselves to death.
So let's just look at the scoreboard after 1 year. Aziz had a great time, ate some grapes, his family, parents dead, house in ruins, fiance literally dying of starvation and depression.
It's a catastrophic balance sheet. And the tragedy is, Aziz is completely unaware of the cost. He hasn't paid a penny for his pleasure yet. Everyone else picked up the check.
Until the year ends, the timer dings, the lady at the balcony, we'll call her that, she lets him go. She gives him this little token, a silk handkerchief with her name on it, and says, "Remember me," which is rich, considering he forgot everyone who actually mattered.
It's a token of the fantasy world, but now he has to cross back into reality.
And reality hits him like a truck. He walks back to his father's house in Basra. Describe this homecoming, because it's not the prodigal son returning to a feast, is it?
No. He returns to a ghost town. The house is physically crumbling, which is a common literary device, the house mirroring the family.
Right.
The servants are gone. His parents are in the grave. And there, sitting in the middle of all this wreckage, is Aziza.
And the description of her is haunting. Frail, broken-hearted. She's basically a skeleton still waiting by the door. Now, here's where I struggle with the love story label. If I'm Aziza and this guy walks up looking well-fed and healthy after a year, I'm not hugging him, I'm throwing a brick.
I think most modern listeners would agree with you, yeah. But Aziz is operating on a different logic. When she sees him, the source says she weeps, tears of joy.
Joy.
It validates her selfless love. She wasn't worried about her wedding or her future. She was just terrified that he was dead. Seeing him alive resolves her one great anxiety. Her ego just doesn't exist in this equation.
That is terrifyingly devoted. And this is the moment Aziz finally wakes up. This is the epiphany.
Yes. The sight of her ruin finally breaks the enchantment. He realizes the trade he made. He looks at the crumbling house, this dying woman, and he gets it. The fantasy cost him his reality.
And he falls at her feet. He says, "I was blind. You are my true love. Forgive me."
Yeah.
I was blind. Yeah, buddy, you were looking at the wrong balcony. But here comes the gut punch. Aziza's response. She doesn't say, "You owe me." She says, "I have waited for you all this time. Now that you are here, I can rest."
I can rest. It implies she was keeping herself alive by sheer willpower, just to see that he was safe. Her purpose is fulfilled.
And once that purpose is done, her body just lets go.
She dies that night. His arms.
Oh.
It's the tragedy of timing, really. Aziz becomes capable of true love exactly one moment too late to actually practice it.
So now Aziz is just left in the wreckage he created. Parents dead, Aziza dead, he buries her with his own hands, and then he just, stays there?
He essentially becomes her. He takes on her role. He sits by her grave, weeping, reciting poetry, just waiting. He enters that same state of sorrow that killed his parents and Aziza. It's his penance.
Okay, so if the story ended right there, it would be a classic tragedy. Guy messes up, loses everything, feels bad forever. The end.
Right.
But it doesn't end there.
Right.
We have to talk about the twist. Because this is where the story goes from sad to just bizarre.
The arrival of the visitor.
Right. Aziz is crying at the grave. A beautiful woman shows up. And it turns out she's the sister of the lady of the balcony.
The sister of the woman who held him captive, yes.
And she brings news. She reveals that her sister, the lady of the balcony, is also dead.
Yeah.
And not just dead, she died of love for Aziz.
That's the claim. Apparently, after Aziz left, the lady of the balcony was so heartbroken by his departure that she also just withered away and died.
Okay, stop. I am having a really hard time buying this. She held him hostage for a year, kicked him out, and then died of love. It feels like this story is just equating obsession with love across the board. It's like a contagion.
That is a very astute observation.
Yeah.
In this narrative universe, love isn't a warm, fuzzy building block for a relationship. It's a plague. It catches you, it consumes you, and it usually kills you.
So the lady of the balcony caught the plague. Aziza caught the plague. Now Aziz has it.
Pretty much.
So the sister is here. And you'd think Aziz would tell her to get lost. You know, your family ruined my life. But that's not what happens.
No. The sister says she was sent to care for him, and they get married.
They get married. He marries the sister of the woman who wrecked his entire life. How do we justify this? Is he just weak? Is he rebounding?
It's definitely not a romantic triumph. I think we have to look at it as a kind of union of survivors. The text is very careful to clarify this. It says he married her, but, and this is a big but, his heart remained with Aziza.
So it's a loveless marriage.
It's a marriage of shared grief. She lost her sister, he lost Aziza. They're the only two people left who understand the wreckage. So they live together in quiet sorrow. It's a domestic arrangement that's just built on a graveyard.
That is bleak. But it brings us to the actual end of the story, the legacy. When Aziz finally dies, years later, he isn't buried with his wife, the sister.
No. He's buried with Aziza. The story loops right back to the beginning.
And there's an inscription on their shared grave. It reads, Aziz and Aziza, two lovers whose love death itself could not divide.
The ultimate epitaph.
But is it true? I mean, really, two lovers death could not divide. Life divided them. Aziz divided them. He spent a whole year dividing them.
That is the central tension, isn't it? The inscription frames them as equals two halves of a whole. But the story itself shows us a perpetrator and a victim. Aziz was the chaos. Aziza was the order.
He was the betrayer. She was the faithful.
Exactly.
So why does the story give them this heroic ending? Why honor them as the ultimate lovers?
Because the source material values the intensity of the emotion over the health of the relationship. Aziz's waiting was intense. Aziz's regret was intense. In the logic of this genre, the fact that Aziz spent the rest of his life mourning, that proves his worthiness. His grief retroactively validates her sacrifice.
So his suffering redeems him.
Exactly. He paid for his 1 year of pleasure with a lifetime of pain. In the moral economy of the story, the debt is settled.
It's a heavy concept. It suggests that love is proved by how much you suffer for it, not by how well you live it.
Which is a dangerous romantic ideal, but a very powerful literary one.
It makes me wonder about the inscription, death could not divide. Maybe it's not saying they were inseparable in life. Maybe it's saying that the grave is the only place they could finally be equal.
That's a chilling thought. In life, he was chasing fantasies and she was waiting by the door. In death, they're finally just two bodies, side by side. No more balconies, no more waiting.
Just silence.
And maybe that's the piece the story talks about. It ends with a wish that every heart that loves truly find the peace that Aziza gave her beloved. It frames her death as a gift of peace to him.
Because she forgave him, he could eventually die in peace beside her.
Yeah.
That is generous. Probably more generous than I would be.
I think you and I both would have locked the door after month 2.
Oh, absolutely. Month 2, I'm changing the locks and selling his stuff. But that's why we do these deep dives, right? They challenge our modern boundaries.
They force us to look at the extremes.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the wreckage of Aziz and Aziza, I want to leave you, the listener, with a question to think about. We see that beautiful inscription, love that death could not divide. It sounds romantic. It sounds eternal.
It's what we all kind of want, in a way.
But ask yourself this. Did Aziz's devotion actually exist while Aziza was alive? Or did his devotion only begin once she was gone? Is it possible that the only reason their love outlasted death is because death is the only thing that could force Aziz to take it seriously? Is a love that requires a funeral to be realized actually a romance? Or is it a warning label?
I think the answer might be on the warning label side of things.
I think you might be right. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll catch you next time.